Hello everyone, I'm Darshana. I will present our work on the CAL-SLIIT collaborative research project for the research review. So first I will provide a background about this particular collaborative research project, and then I will explain about some of the technical topics that we have been looking at, such as base interest rate prediction, which is predicting the government interest rate, and in predicting the movement of the interest rate, whether it's going to go up or down. And another topic that we have been looking at is developing possibility of developing hybrid models to incorporate news data, that is to predict interest rate, to use news data as well as the historical data. So all these topics are of mutual interest to CAL as well as our team. And the last topic is pursued under MPhil research by one of our MPhil students. The other topics, first two topics are mainly intended to be used by CAL for their trade decisions when they bid for government bond purchases. So these topics have both an academic relevance as well as a relevance in financial trade. If I give a brief background about this particular research project, so it Faculty of Computing and Capital Alliance Private Limited, which is a leading investment bank in Sri Lanka, formed a joint research lab in January 2019, and the purpose was to do financial analytics based research. And the grant is 12 million rupees, and CAL is contributing 10 million rupees over 3 years. So we have completed 2 years of this particular research, and we are currently in the third year. And the investigators are Professor Chandimal Jayawardena, Dr. Lakmal Rup Singh, and myself, Darshana Kasturath. So these are our team members. Ms. Chamira Navaratna is working with us as a research engineer, and Mr. Nadaraja Denoshan, so currently he's not working with us, but he was there in the first year. And Mr. Saugat Ariel is there as the MPhil candidate, and we have another intern, Ms. Binali De Silva. So this is the main topic that was of that we pursued. It was of interest to CAL as well. That is to predict the base interest rate, which is a time series prediction problem. And our team looked at multiple existing models that are there, particularly deep learning models as well as statistical models to do these predictions. So one of the limitations that is there is the lack of data when it comes to the Sri Lankan context. So currently we are using this hybrid model, which is a combination of a statistical model as well as a deep neural network model called ES-RNN model, and we have found that to be fairly accurate, especially when it comes to smaller data sets. So we think that this model may be appropriate for similar problems, because in Sri Lanka I think there's generally a limitation when it comes to data. And the other topic that we have been looking at is different ways to do hyperparameter optimization. So basically one of the problems that CAL had was once we deploy a model, once we train a model and deploy it in their servers, if the data is updated or if they want to slightly change it to predict a different parameter or change the input data set, then basically you have to tune the model again, and that requires some technical know-how, and you have to modify the code as well, so which can be a tedious process. So we were looking at different approaches to automate that, so even a non-technical person with the domain knowledge but may not be a programmer can extend these models or customize these models to uh, do predictions, because they are working in a very dynamic environment. So this is another area that we have been looking at using hyperparameter optimization algorithms such as grid search and random search, and uh, it is an upcoming area in machine learning called falling under AutoML. And we applied this to the ES-RNN model, uh, and so these are some of the parameters that we subjected to uh, the hyperparameter optimization process. And so with this approach we can easily train models for different prediction windows like daily, monthly or weekly, and we can even easily change the input parameters as well. So this diagram shows the results after doing the hyperparameter optimization. The improvement here is minimal compared to the manual optimization. Still, in this particular domain, even a slight improvement in the prediction can result in better yield. So as for the future work, we are planning to use this ES-RNN model to incorporate multiple input parameters such as market equity, foreign holdings, and so on. So these parameters have been identified by the domain experts at CAL. So we are working in collaboration with them to incorporate those parameters. And ideally what we want is to have an ensemble or a collection of models, or sometimes called a model farm, where an expert can try out different input models and uh, consider all these outputs to make better investment decisions, because this market is highly volatile. So one model or several models might not be sufficient when making investment decisions. So currently CAL is evaluating this the current model that we have deployed, and we are working on incorporating a multivariate scenario as well. The other area that we've been looking at is interest rate movement prediction. So this is a simpler problem where you don't try to predict the exact value, rather you try to predict the movement of the interest rate, whether it's going to go up or down. And for that, after our team has looked at tried different approaches and identified this XG boost or extreme gradient boost model as the one that gives the best accuracy. And so currently we are doing weekly predictions whether the interest rate is going to go up or down based on a weekly basis. And so these are some of the results. Again, in this model also our team um, applied hyperparameter optimization, which gives a slight increase, but more than the accuracy increase, I think the uh, the main advantage there is that you don't have to manually adjust these parameters when the data set changes. Even a non-technical person should be able to retrain these models, because ideally we want the CAL team to take over these models, and they should be able to retrain them periodically uh, when the dataset updates, when the situation changes. So hyperparameter optimization, or automating the hyperparameter optimization allows us to do that. And there also we are looking at incorporating exogenous variables such as the inflation rate to improve the interest rate prediction. And another area that we are looking at is whether we can use the ES-RNN model itself to do movement prediction with some post processing. So the other topic that we've been looking at is different approaches in incorporating news data, because currently we only work with the historical data sets, numerical data sets of the interest rate or any other financial marker that we are looking at. Now, so this is the base architecture that we are looking at, the deep neural network architecture, which can have multiple branches, where one branch might input numerical data and the other branch might include input news data. So this architecture has been proposed in the literature, and we have been trying to do some improvements to this architecture using what is known as the attention model, and also incorporating news data, not just the title or the heading of the news data, but also the content, summary of the content of the news, to see whether it can gain a better accuracy. So with this one, actually we are not currently trying with Sri Lankan news data, because the data sources are fairly hard to come by. We are looking at the US stock market news data, and also the numerical data. So this is part of the MPhil research that Saugata is working on. So we have got some encouraging results incorporating the attention model, which is the novelty in this particular work, and compared to the scenario when you only consider the historical data. So the accuracies here are not that high, because anyway this data is fairly noisy. These results are comparable with the existing data, and we have been getting better results when we incorporate the attention model. So these are the publications that we have produced so far based on the MPhil research, as well as the other analyses in this domain, and the research student is working on incorporating news summaries as well, in addition to the news headlines, and we are hoping to submit another manuscript based on the proposed novel deep neural network architecture to incorporate the news data. So that's the summary of the work done under this collaborative research topic. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much.